Welcome back to Where Hatters Walk. Thank you so much for watching. This week we're asking one question. Who is to blame for Luton Town's poor start this championship season? Some fans are blaming recruitment. Other fans are blaming Rob Edwards. It's time to find out what our Hatters think on the latest edition of Where Hatters Walk. Welcome. Yes, welcome back to edition number 5 of Where Hatters Walk. We've got Mark, Dan, and Sam, our Luton Town team, ready and raring to go to put their answers to the question, what is going wrong? But before we do that, in the comments below, we'd love you. Please, first of all, to subscribe. If you haven't done already, please hit that button now. We love making this content for you. And also in the comments, rate the transfer window. That's exactly what I'll be asking these three to do right now. Good evening, Mark. Let's start with your good self. Go on then. Are we allowed to start questioning Rob Edwards, or are we not allowed to do that just yet?
No, we're not. We're not allowed to start questioning Rob Edwards. We're 4 games into a season. I'll be honest, there are concerns, but it's too early to judge it. The new players we've signed we've not seen a few of them. We're still easing back in. I mean, I'd say our best defender, Reece Burke, is still easing his way back into fitness. Marcus Nakamba, who was brilliant at QPR, hasn't played for a year, so it's not purely just down to injuries. Friday night, there's just when we didn't make the most of the momentum we had and take the chances, there's an air of inevitability. Like when QPR got the equaliser, and I just felt it was inevitable what was going to happen, and we didn't really create much after we went behind. So yeah, it's too early to say that to question Rob. Let everyone bed in. Let's see where we are. Basically, sort of later in the year.
Okay. Devil's advocate, though, Sam. How many more games do we get of this lack of creativity, conceding silly goals, being bullied off the ball like we were with QPR before people start asking questions?
I think questions are being asked already. I think obviously the manager's position is safe, definitely, as he's obviously done so much for us. But there are some questions about the tactics and how we're playing at the moment, which I think definitely should be asked. We seemed to have carried. We didn't end last season very well, which obviously we were in a tougher league, but we've carried on playing similarly to last season. And the main problem is we just are too easy to play against, and it's too easy for teams to score up against us and drive through the middle of the pitch. So I think there definitely are some questions about how we're set up.
Okay. It's not just the defending, though, is it, Dan? It's, as Mark alluded to, we'll see lots of, I think, some tweets in a minute that alludes to the creativity. You know, where's the dynamic midfielders that you had on your route to the Premier League?
All injured.
Gone.
It's probably the easiest answer. No, I think we lack sort of a leadership model in there. I think ever since Tom Lockyer had his incident back in December, we've really lacked his leadership skills. Certainly organising at the back, but in terms of the middle of the park, we just haven't really got anybody there. I think Baptiste is trying his best with what he's working with. I think Nakamba, when he comes back in, as Mark alluded to, what we saw at the QPR game last week, he sort of calmed everything. When he's on the pitch, he's really calm and makes everything look so easy, doing all the donkey work that people don't like to do. I think we're really missing that. I think Baptiste is trying his best, but I think he needs someone like Nakamba in there to sort of help get things ticking again. And then Clark and Chong and whoever else is playing in midfield can start focus on creating rather than tracking back so much, trying to pick up the pieces that have been left while we're getting overrun in midfield. I think that's been a big problem. I don't think creating chances has been too much of an issue. Saw that Morrison Adebayo could have had goals in the first half. Adebayo missed an absolute glorious sitter early on in the second half when we were 1-0 up, and had he put that to bed on another day, he would have. I think we'd have seen a different outcome. But there's just defensive frailties as well, which are undoing us at the minute, making too many mistakes, and it's costing us.
Okay. Let's have a look at the transfer window, shall we, then, before we look at some of the social media aspects of the QPR game. Let's look at the spending of all the clubs. 7th mark in terms of expenditure. Burnley, Leeds, Hull, Norwich, Middlesbrough, even Coventry have spent more than yourselves. I mean, you have recouped 20 million from obviously players like Barkley and others. So you're on €9 million to the good. However, with parachute payments and the TV money you had last year, is it fair that some Luton fans are expecting you to perhaps spend a little bit more than you have?
If anyone's expecting us to sort of go big and spend the money, it's not our model. It's not what we do. We're not going to be held to ransom over teams' demands. I mean, we spent obviously a lot of fees are undisclosed, so you don't know. But Mark McGuinness looks a good signing. We spent quite a bit of money on Mark McGuinness, and we'll spend the money if we feel it's value for money. But then it's not just about the money, and I think Walters will be signing of the season from Arsenal. He just looks a great player. And yeah, I mean, I think everyone wants more signings. We want to spend more money, but that's not our model. If anyone thinks we're going to go out and spend £20 million on a player, then yeah, it's not what we're about. And now that we're getting people back, I think the defence will tighten up when Reece Burke can sort of get 90 minutes out regularly. Mark McGuinness, we now know on transfer deadline day that we haven't lost Ted and Mengi. So we've bought based on potential. Then we've got a couple more, one more coming in January that we signed, but we won't see until the end of the Swedish league. Then we've got the German under-21 international, which will stabilise the central midfield and strengthen us. So we'd like to, everyone wants to spend more money, but let's see when these players bed in what we look like.
Okay. Yeah, I think you've gone through that whole list that we were going to go through there. There's been some are undisclosed, aren't they? But to say, there was €11 million or £10 million on Mark McGuinness. Fan from €4 million or €4.5 million, and Richard Walters it's already looking class. Sam, if we look at your departures though, because we always should weigh up before we grade a transfer window on those that you've lost as well. Are there any on there which you might think the club might have done a bit more to keep or offer better deals to? Or you can see the back of most of them?
I think we seemed to have made quite a big error in letting Ogbene and Townsend both go, as both could have. Ogbene was starting for us, but let's say Walters is probably a better option at right back anyway. But Ogbene and Townsend could have been really useful off the bench, and the fact we've let both of them go and haven't replaced them is pretty stunning to me. And I think I don't think we're not be a club who spends a lot of money, but if we're bringing all this money in, I think there should also have been a bit more money spent on trying to replace Barkley, because Baptiste has been good so far, but another option there to try and replace him, I think, would have been good. So I think a lot of players have left, and I don't think we've adequately replaced them at all.
Dan, same question to you. Any mistakes you think you've made here the departures?
I don't think you could have done much about Benny if you get an offer from the Premier League. You're taking. Osho was offered a contract, turned it down. Berry said he wanted to play regular football and wasn't going to get guaranteed that. So those are three I would have kept hold of, but for different reasons. Obviously, we've let them go. Barkley was never going to stay because we're not a Premier League club. I think if we stayed up, we probably would have kept him or been able to demand 2 or 3 times the fee that we got for him. The rest, not really bothered about, to be honest. We haven't really seen enough of them. I think Ryan Giles spat his dummy out when he lost his place to Doughty. So that's the wrong kind of player for the club. We don't want that kind of player at the club. The only mistakes we've made, I'm alluded to it a bit there, I think on the wide positions, Doughty doesn't seem to have a lot of competition for his place. And I think if Walters gets injured, we might be a bit light on the wide areas. But I know Mari Bell can cover the left side, so it's not too much of an issue. But I just worry that we haven't got enough to cover there, and Bell's had his injury problems too. So I think we could have. I think they probably did try, but it's, you know what it's like when you got lots of money and everybody wants a piece of it. Well, you can pay more than what you were going to pay for him because you've got more money, and Luton just won't be able to ransom like that, and rightly so. It's a business. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because you don't want to be plummeting back from whence you came.
No.
Okay, then let's ask you to give it a grade then. 1 to 10, 10 being couldn't have gone any better. Again, in the comments, put yours in and explain why. Sam, we'll start with you.
I'm gonna go with a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, that's the lowest grading we've had from any team so far. Mark?
Well, I'm gonna go higher. I'm gonna say 7 out of 10.
Dan, you get the casting vote. Please don't go 6.
Yeah, I think it's a better one than it's been made out because we've always sold players for good money and then having bought them for next to nothing. And I think we've bought a couple of players. I think if Walsh gets fit, he becomes a better player. So I'm saying 7 pushing 8, I'd say.
Oh, okay. Good. Why Sam for you so low?
I think we've got weaker in the attacking area, letting 2 of our wingers leave and not bringing anyone in. And I think we could have done a bit more in midfield to try and replace Barkley. But I like the addition of McGuinness, and Walters does look quite good as well. So defence, I think we've done quite well.
Okay, we'll leave the transfer window there. Again, put your own comments in the chat in the comment box below. Let's have a quick review of the game against QPR. Then losing once to them must be bad enough, but losing twice in 4 days is going to wrangle. You can imagine the comments weren't very positive, but let's have a look at some of them anyway. They were all of the same kind of theme, which was surprising for me, but maybe not for you. In the nicest possible way, says CYH, sorry. Time is up soon for Rob Edwards. He's not playing the style of football that we're about at Luton, and it's not good to watch. We'll go nowhere playing like this. Similarly, Tommy said, copy and paste with even more shade being thrown at fans. What's he expecting? Clapping after getting done by a most basic low-table championship side? Give it a rest. Own up fully and change it. The onus is on you now. Mark fans aren't happy. I'm sure it'll be frustrating for you to read, but have they got a point?
They've not got a point about time's up for Rob. I think he took us up from the Championship probably ahead of schedule. We gave it a good go in the Premier League. We were always going to be up against it, and it was just the time to press the reset button. And at the end of the day, you're 4 games into a 46-game season. Do we really want to be like that team down the road that loses a couple of games and gets rid of their manager? We're not like that. We always give managers time, and it's like you really want to get rid of a manager after 4 games. yes, we're being pulled both boxes, and we don't take our chances, and we're prone to a mistake. But there's lots of potential, lots of people to come back in the squad, and Rob knows what he sees, and he knows where, and he even sort of walked round after Friday, sort of handheld, as in this one's on me. So he's acknowledging it, and I think you'll see. It's a good time now. We've got 2 weeks international break, time to reset, trying to get more people fit and ready, and then I think we will see changes after the international break. But yeah, it's like ridiculous to say, oh, we need to change a manager now.
And the worst one of all, which I saw, Dan, was this one. Edwards has 3 games after the break, or he is gone. Really, 3 games. But lose to Millwall. And
it's Millwall away. It's Millwall away, Sheffield Wednesday home, and then Plymouth away on the Friday. I think that's a bit unfair, really. Echo what Mark says. I think we Edwards a bit of time to put it right. We've got a 2-week break, as you say, to sort of address the issues and work on them in training. And as far as I'm aware, he has owned up and said, we're going to work on it. So I think, they're aware of the problems. They can see that they're not stupid. They can see that there's problems there. But I think every game's tough. Every game's tough, and I think Luton fans just need to be just sort of. It's a bit of a come down, if you like, because we've had it so good for so long that we've not used to losing. Despite, last year's a free pass. Being in this league, we've been pretty competitive historically since we came up, and I think we're starting to get a taste of what it's like to be on the other foot, and we've got to run up to it and make changes and try and put it right. But I think three games are ridiculous. I think it's very easy to overreact when things aren't going your way, and I think that's exactly what's happening.
Okay. Sam, you're nodding your head to that. I'm guessing we've got 3 for 3 here.
I think it'll be a bit more than 3 games. I think it's a bit soon, but he does need to change something quite quickly. I have confidence in that he will. I think he will adapt, but he needs to soon because we can't keep playing like we are. And I'm confident he will, though.
Okay. All right. Yeah, sure. Stubborn was the word I've seen a lot in the comments as well. But we're not going to label this point because 1 win against Millwall and everything changes, doesn't it? So, yeah. But if you are an anti-Rob Edwards fan, then can you call yourself a fan? I'm not sure you can. But if you're anti-Rob Edwards out, let's put in the comments below, and we'll get our team to respond to it in 2 weeks' time. Thank you very much for joining us on Where Hatters Walk. We know there's lots of Luton content out there, so we're really grateful for people watching these 3 each week. We appreciate all the likes and all the comments that we get. Don't forget to follow Dan and Sam on their Twitter handles, which are at the bottom of their screens there, with lots more entertaining and unbiased views on all things Luton Town. And Watford lost, so come on, there's got to be some positives.
Every cloud, Mark.
Right, see you next week.
For now.
Thank you for joining.
Bye.